Hi, I am Juan Cuellar Torres. I'm a personal development coach and spiritual seeker. Today, I want to invite you to consider the possibility that we are all one. This can sound quite high in the sky, but when I was in my mid to late 20s, I, um, I was introduced to this subject and never really understood it, but always felt deep inside that it was true, that it rang very true to me. So in my day-to-day life, I just started to question myself and say, if we're actually all one, even though I don't see it, even though I don't believe it in my head, what would that look like? Like, how would I treat this other person, or how would I even react to this situation knowing that we are all one? And these types of questions started to actually change me and made me into the person I felt more comfortable being. I felt more at peace and less afraid, and at the same time, more empowered to live my life and be joyful. So, this is what I want to invite you today to just start questioning, be open about the fact that what if we are actually all one? With that, I want to start looking at what actually we are not. Separation. Separation is the belief that I am here, you are there, and there is the space in between. Now, the problem with that is it is very easy to disengage myself from that which I am not and even hate it. So that's why I believe that many of the crises that we live today have to do with our belief that we are separate, that because I have nothing to do with you, I can just look the other way and know that there are no consequences for me for what is happening to you. Maybe not in this lifetime, maybe not as myself, but maybe as a collective of humanity, or maybe in the future it will. But because I see myself separate from you now, I don't care. And I might even call you inferior, when actually inferiority does not exist. Neither does superiority, because we are all one same being. However, this belief that we have of separation has actually caused a lot of crises and may even be called the root cause of all the crises that we've lived through in our history. So, for many, it is easy to consider that those that think, look, or act differently are separate from them, with no relation whatsoever, apart from considering each other human beings. In today's world, we believe that what we do to another does not affect us personally. There can be consequences for our actions, but these consequences have nothing to do with the other. It's about us. And because we consider ourselves different from the sphere of what we call myself, the way we treat that which we call outside of myself is much less loving. The majority of us would not willingly harm ourselves. That much self-love we do have. So here is my radical invitation. Consider that we are all one. Try to make this mental exercise. It's not easy because it goes against what we always have given for granted, that we are separate. But having accepted this invitation and truly making an effort to open to the possibility that it may be true, your relation to everything and everyone else will change. Others are not separate beings from you, and rather they are different manifestations of yourself. Having that invitation accepted for one day, for an hour, you can ask yourself, how would I treat them? How would I approach them? If they are me, would I be more understanding? So, what are the implications of oneness? For one, we have the fact that I have all I need, for I am all that is. Meaning, I'm always enough, and there is always enough. And this is because there's nothing outside of me. And this is just, again, a concept that may not be part of our day-to-day experience. But if we start accepting the fact that There may be some things that we don't understand and believe that actually we always have what we need. Our way of seeing life will definitely change. And this also goes for the fact that there's nothing that happens by chance. Because if I accept that there's only one, then everything that is happening is because I am in a way accepting it consciously or unconsciously. Today, we live maybe we live quite unconsciously because many things happen that we don't control. But just by having the belief that, yes, it is possible that we actually are all one and that every situation that I'm living, I've allowed it in my life. If I frame it like that, then everything I live can actually be seen as a possibility that I'm providing to myself to grow, to be more of who I really want to be. And third, I don't need to suffer. And this goes hand in hand with the previous of nothing happens by chance, because, well, if I bring every situation into my life, then my decision is not to suffer. And here, I want to make a difference. Suffering is a decision. Pain can be there, but I can have pain without suffering. I know most of us have had that experience. So I do want to make that differentiation where I see that it is my decision to suffer. And many times I don't see it as such because I just react with suffering. But with time and with just changing our belief about who we are will allow us to stop suffering for things that we today suffer. It's like saying that today we don't suffer for the same things we suffered when we were younger kids. It's the same concept. We can grow out of it and the situation can still be there, but we don't have to suffer. And that is why I also want to talk about a current situation that can be quite challenging to see under the light of oneness. And this is what is happening right now in Ukraine. I don't want to get too personal about it because many people might have different opinions, but I do want to share what I see. I do see that what is happening in Ukraine is a crime of aggression. It is horrible. And what we are invited right now to question ourselves is who we are as a humanity in front of what is happening. Just as Gandhi said, I am peace, but I am also standing up against those who want to harm us, not by taking an eye for an eye, but for standing up for what I am. And we can see the consequences of what Gandhi did. It is amazing. It is an amazing example. And he did it from the concept of nonviolence. He decided he was and is nonviolence. But at the same time, he decided that he was a part of what India is, a free and independent nation. So what I see right now that is happening in Ukraine is an opportunity for each of us and as a whole to decide who we are in front of what Russia is doing to Ukraine, of what Vladimir Putin and his government actually are doing to Ukraine. It is just a matter of us reminding ourselves who we are in front of this. Are we going to be like Putin and his government that says that they are stronger and better, and that's why they can invade a country that they call part of their own territory? Why? Because they can? Is that who we are? Or are we going to be the ones that just look aside? Is that who we are? Who are we? This is an opportunity for humanity to decide who we are as one. So I believe this is an amazing opportunity, even though it's wrapped in horror, because it is, for us also to understand, who am I in front of this that is happening? Who am I in front of this calamity? And this is why I also believe that the day or the moment that we are able to know that the night is over and the day has come, is when we look in another's eyes and see ourselves. That is the most powerful. Because if we see ourselves in each other's eyes, we will know that there's no reason to harm ourselves, no reason for us to treat ourselves as the enemy, because there is no enemy. And this is why I want to finish this presentation with 3 specific tasks. The first one is decide that you're going to see and experience everything around you as one with yourself. The second one is when you feel attacked or threatened by another, seek to understand and decide who you are in front of that situation. And this is the example I was placing of Ukraine. And even though we're not in Ukraine, we are in other parts of the world. It is up to us to decide who we are in front of that. Because today it is happening to another part of ourselves that are in Ukraine. But tomorrow we don't know. And even if it's just happening to a part of ourselves in Ukraine and it stops there, at the same time, we're always defining who we are by how we decide to engage with the situation. And the third task I invite you to consider today is that there is nothing to fear, for you are one with all and you are always safe. This can be a tricky concept, especially now that we are in a brink of such a horrible war between Russia and Ukraine and all that this implies for the rest of the world. But if we are all one, we can always know that there is nothing to fear and that nothing happens outside of what we accept in our reality to happen. And it is just up to us to decide who we are. And that is then my biggest invitation today from the concept of oneness. Always ask yourself, who are you in front of what is happening? Who are you? And I leave Gandhi as a great example of who he was in front of an empire who was treating them as separate, different, second class. And he demonstrated who he was. And he created an avalanche of peace. Thank you.